Hi everyone, MR Assassin here, and welcome to the first Brain Booster of 2020. Woo woo woo! This is the show where we discuss the latest news on science, technology, gaming, and other brain-boosting topics. For reference, this is the 4th week of January 2020. Now let's begin. Our first topic is Tesla is selling some merch that commemorates the Cybertruck shattered window. Tesla is a bit of a weird company. They don't just sell cars, they also sell merch. They also sold a flamethrower at one point. Sold? Jokes aside though, I think they will actually sell a lot of these t-shirts. As you can see in the image, it looks exactly like the shatter that was produced in the car window when they were demoing the Cybertruck. In my opinion, it's a pretty dumb looking truck, but I'm sure people out there are gonna buy it. When they were demoing that window, the designer, von Holzhausen, was showing off the durability of the Cybertruck. Apparently they were blast-proof windows, but they did shatter quite easily. At least in the demo. When Elon Musk showed off the t-shirt, he made a tweet about it saying, "T-shirt is bulletproof and makes you buff." I gotta say, Elon has a good business sense, because he's making money on his mistake. If you're interested in buying a t-shirt yourself, it'll be $45 US, and you can get it from the Tesla official merch shop. For our next topic, Sony has released a new camera grip. The grip is officially known as the Gupavipita Tubita. Oh, I'll be right back. I gotta fold my dough. Alright, I'm back. Making sourdough bread. Anyways, as I was saying, by connecting wirelessly, you avoid having any clumsy cables, and you're able to keep your camera's ports sealed and protected from the elements. So they're claiming that it increases the water resistance. However, the grip itself is not 100% dust or moisture proof. This seems kind of weird to me. If they're marketing it as being hey, this increases the moisture resistance of your camera by using this grip, that's a blatant lie, because if it's not 100% moisture proof itself, you're not really solving anything. If they're just saying, hey, it connects to your camera easily, wirelessly, makes it so that you don't have to have cables, and it lets you hold the camera easy when you're doing shooting or whatever, it doubles as a tripod, lets you hit record and shoot photos with the grip itself, you can zoom with it, market that. Don't market the increase moisture resistance if it's not moisture resistant itself. That's dumb. So don't buy it for strictly the purpose of increasing moisture resistance. And it looks like it's only compatible with Sony cameras. So don't buy this grip if you're the owner of a Canon or Nikon camera. I'll provide the list of cameras that are compatible with it in the description, because there's a few models, but they're all Sony models. If you have a Sony camera and you're interested in this grip, it is going to be released this month, and it's going to be priced at $140 US. I have a Canon M50, I don't have a Sony camera, so I can't get this grip. Or maybe I can, but it won't do anything. I actually ordered a cable for the Canon M50, so my future videos might increase in quality of my face. Pretty cool. Next topic. Jaguar is developing a shape-shifting car seat that simulates walking. So the researchers at Jaguar want to help with our increasingly sedentary lifestyle of sitting for extended periods, and they're developing a seat that makes you think you're walking. It's not available yet, it's currently just being experimented in the company's body, interiors, and research division. Has a series of micro-adjustable actuators placed in the seat foam to activate the pelvic area, making occupants feel like they're walking. And of course it will be customizable per seat, so the driver can have a different pelvic oscillations compared to the passenger seat. I have my concerns about something like this. I feel like getting pelvic oscillations while you're driving could be distracting, and it could trigger nerves that make you kick. It might not be safe if you're doing accelerating or braking. I guess if cars become more autonomous, then that might not be an issue in the future. putting it in a driver's seat is not really the place to put it for me. I'm probably not the same as everyone, but I don't spend a whole lot of time driving. My commute is maybe 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Very occasionally I'm going to the other side of the city, and that would be maybe a half-hour drive. But for the most part, I'm not really sitting in the car for a long enough time that I would need to simulate walking. I would actually need this more so, or I feel like this technology would be better utilized for living room furniture or office chairs or gaming chairs, where people spend maybe a few hours sitting instead of the 20-minute commute. At least for me, I feel like I spend more time sitting in front of the computer than sitting in front of a steering wheel. What are your guys' thought? Leave a comment down below if you feel like you would enjoy a car seat that makes your legs feel like you're walking. And now for some science. This is a bit of a concerning study. Apparently, America's most widely consumed oil causes genetic changes in the brain, specifically soybean oil. So according to this new research, apparently soybean oil not only leads to obesity and diabetes, but could also affect neurological conditions like autism, Alzheimer's, anxiety, and depression. Soybean oil is by far the most widely produced and consumed edible oil in the US. I'll provide a little pie chart here of the oils consumed. And as you can see, soybean is a huge chunk. Like it looks like maybe 60% of it is soybean oil. So in the study, they compared mice being fed 3 different diets high in fat: soybean oil modified to be low in linoleic acid, and coconut oil. And in the studies, they found that the soybean oil induces obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance, and fatty liver in mice. They found pronounced effects of the oil on the hypothalamus. It regulates body weight via your metabolism, it maintains body temperature, it's critical for reproduction and physical growth, as well as your response to stress. And they found that a number of genes in the mice fed soybean oil were not functioning correctly. One such gene produces the love hormone, oxytocin. They found that the levels of oxytocin in the hypothalamus went down. It's still pretty early on in this study, so there's no proof yet that this oil could cause these diseases. It's just a possibility. There's some important things to note about this study. First, they only used male mice, and it's specifically soybean oil. So if you have a bunch of tofu, or soy sauce, or edamame beans, soy milk, these are okay. They have a low amount of soybean oil, so these aren't necessarily unhealthy. It's specifically the soybean oil that has higher risk. And it's male mice, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad for humans. Mice and humans may both be mammals, but they're still very different things. So just because we saw negative effects on mice doesn't necessarily mean that it'll affect us in the same way. But it's something to keep in mind. And I'm going to keep my eye open for this study to see if there's any progression on it. See if they continue studying it on female mice or other animals to see if there's any correlation that could be linked to humans and soybean oil. Bottom line is that they recommend reducing the consumption of soybean oil, especially with it being 60% of oil being consumed in the US. Coconut oil is a good substitute if you don't mind the taste of coconut. I personally use canola and olive oil. Something to keep in mind. For our last topic, Stanford researchers have determined that the average human body temperature has decreased since the 1800s. Most people know human body temperature as 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 37 degrees Celsius. But the research is suggesting that that is too high. This standard was made in 1868 by a German physician. And there was a recent study where they had 25,000 British patients, and the average temperature was 97.9. It's not a huge difference, that's like, 0.7 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's worth noting. And they found that it was decreasing by almost 0.05 Fahrenheit every decade. The average man born between early to mid 1990s is about 1.06 Fahrenheit lower than men born in the 1800s, and for women, it's about 0.58 Fahrenheit lower than that of women born in the 1890s. So men are even cooler than women. There could be lots of reasons of why we find this decrease. Firstly, for the accuracy of thermometry nowadays. We have easier access to food. We have good medicine. We're healthy humans nowadays. We have access to regular temperature control, like air conditioning, which wasn't available in the 1800s. So our body isn't trying so hard to maintain a body temperature. We're also not working out as much as we used to, or not working as hard as we used to. We live in pretty comfortable environments, which could also decrease the metabolic rate. So humans are evolving over the past 200 years. Not a whole lot to discuss about that topic, I just found it to be kind of a fascinating study. That concludes this episode of Brain Booster. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit subscribe if you want to keep up to date with my content. You can also follow me on Twitter if that's your thing. Your brain has now been boosted. Moi moi.